So let me say something that shouldn't even need to be said in 2026. But clearly it still does. White people and black people are not all the same. And I know somebody watching this might be thinking, yeah, obviously. But the way people move in real life tells a very different story. Because I can't tell you how many times someone has asked me if I knew another person. For one reason only. We were both black. No name, no context, no city, no job. Just black. And it's always asked with that confidence, like I'm supposed to go, oh yeah, that's my cousin. What that question really reveals is this. In a lot of people's minds, black people exist as one big group. Not individuals, not cultures, not histories, just one category. And what's interesting is that people who think this way would never want that same logic used on them. Because if I'm in the US and I say Europeans, I get it. It's a broad term. But here in Europe, if I start treating everybody like they're the same, that gets corrected immediately. No, I'm Hungarian. No, I'm German. No, I'm Swiss. And I would expect that because, of course, you're not all the same. Now, let's talk about Latin America. I'm not going to walk into the room and assume everybody is Mexican. Somebody is Brazilian. Somebody is Puerto Rican. Somebody is Salvadorian. Different countries, different cultures, different identities. I once had a moment on a plane that really locked this in for me. I'm sitting next to a woman. A flight attendant says something to her, and you can tell he assumed she was Mexican. She corrected him immediately. She says, no, I'm not Mexican, I'm Cuban. He, of course, apologizes. No big deal. Then she turns to me and she says, I can't stand when that happens. And I tell her, I completely understand. Yeah, that happens with black people too. She looks at me straight in the eye and says, oh, that's not the same thing. And I just sat there like, you literally did to me what they just did to you. Because what she was really saying was people like me have specific identities. People like you are just black. Now, let me add something else because this part matters. Living here in Central and Eastern Europe, there are very few African Americans. I can probably count on one hand how many I've met or actually know. There are considerably more Africans than there are African Americans here. People from Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal, Cameroon, Ethiopia, all over. Different countries, different cultures, different languages. But from the outside, people don't see any difference at all. To a lot of those folks, black is just black. And trust me, there is a difference. Because when I see an African guy and he sees me, we both know immediately. He knows I'm not from his country. I know he's not from my country. No explanation needed. No conversation required. It's cultural. It's in how we move, how we speak, how we carry ourselves. And that alone should tell you something. Probably the only other group that gets almost as much slack is Asian people. And I don't mean that in a joking way. A lot of people assume everybody is Chinese. And that definitely isn't the case. Korean, Japanese, Vietnamese, Thai, Filipino, different countries, different languages, and I'll say once again, different histories. And this is where the bigger pattern shows up. People don't usually take interest in things they don't think matter, or things they've been taught directly or indirectly not to care about. It's crazy, I know. Think about travel for a second. There are places in Central and Eastern Europe that get overlooked all the time. Not because they're not rich in culture or history, but because people are trained to go to Paris or Rome. And what's interesting is when Americans actually find themselves in places like Budapest for the first time, they're shocked. They say, how did I not know about this? Why doesn't anybody talk about this place? And the answer is simple. Because if nobody talks about something, people assume it doesn't matter. They assume it's not worth knowing, not worth exploring, not worth understanding. You know what? Africa suffers from this more than almost anywhere else. Bad press, bad information, selective stories, constant focus on crisis. So people grow up thinking Africa is one thing, one place, one narrative. And I don't think that's accidental. Because when people don't see value in something, they don't question how it's treated. And when they don't question it, certain industries keep making a lot of money. I'll be honest with you. I can't wait for countries across Africa to be my next chapter. That's the one continent I know I've been lacking. Going to my motherland. I've been to South Africa. I've been to Soweto. I stood near Nelson Mandela's home. I saw parts of the rural areas too. And even that was just a taste. It showed me how much more there is to see, how incomplete my picture still is. And I'm okay in saying that, because curiosity doesn't mean you already know. It means you're willing to learn. So if you're watching this and you know places that don't make the travel brochures, places that don't get marketed, places that actually show the soul of where you're from, please drop them in the comments. Off the beaten path towns, rural areas, places people overlook, please flood my comment section. Because I want to see Africa the way I've seen the rest of the world. Beyond the headlines, beyond the stereotypes. Because I'll tell you, the most powerful understanding that I've ever gained in life has always come from places people told me weren't important. And I already know Africa isn't one of those places. I just haven't seen enough of it.